It may finally be time to give smartwatches another chance. Companies like Apple, Qualcomm, Samsung, and Fitbit have persisted in making these devices actually useful, and collectively, the industry seems to be gaining momentum. Google's launching the latest iteration of its Wear OS, and its continued efforts seem to be paying off. The third major release of the software so far looks like the beginning of a useful platform that you'll actually want to keep on your wrist. Maybe third time's the charm? Before we dive into it, though, I want to be clear. This is a review of the Wear OS redesign, not of the watch it's in, which, by the way, is the Fossil Q Venture HR. There's no official number tied to this release the way it did with Android Wear 2.0, though I think of this as Wear OS 3. It also doesn't have the new modes that Qualcomm and Google announced when the chipmaker unveiled its Wear 3100 processor, which promises battery saving and functional improvements. We're looking at the OS you'll get when upgrading the software or buying a device with older hardware. The biggest difference you'll find when upgrading from a previous version of Wear is in navigation. Before, you'd swipe horizontally to change watch faces. Now, swiping left and right bring up Google Fit and Assistant, respectively. Swipe up to see your notifications and swipe down for access to quick settings and shortcuts. If you want to change watch faces, just press and hold on the home page, and to access all apps, just press the middle button on the watch's side. On this particular watch, the middle button rotates, letting you scroll through your list of apps or notifications like compatible watches before did. It doesn't have a satisfying click or haptic feedback the way the Galaxy Watch or the Apple Watch Series 4 do, but it's a nice way to get through long lists and makes getting to what you want faster. Other watches may not offer the rotating dial though. Speed is one of the biggest things that Google wanted to address with the new Wear OS. That's important. If you have to hold up your wrist for longer than 5 seconds to get what you need, you're going to get tired or impatient and move on. For the most part, Wear OS is faster than its predecessor. It takes some getting used to, but the new placement of everything feels intuitive, and most things I need are easy or easier to find, usually within 1 or 2 taps. You are a ruiner of dreams. Common tasks like controlling music, checking notifications, or the battery level took me fewer than 5 seconds. Assistant is also noticeably faster, no longer taking forever to transcribe my replies or figure out what I asked it to do. Plus, the new notification stream shows more messages than before and displays actions within the feed instead of launching a whole separate page like before. But there were still some parts of the UI that were slow. The Play Store in particular takes a painfully long time to load, and starting a workout requires a few more taps, especially if you're not launching an activity that you've recently done. Well, that's not fun. Some of these delays could be improved when watches launch with Qualcomm's Wear 3100 chip, which promises better performance and longer battery life than the Wear 2100 that's in this watch. Till we get our hands on one of those new watches though, it's hard to say if Wear OS will be fast enough to meet our needs. The redesign isn't only about speed. Wear OS is now more helpful. The new Assistant page shows useful information about your upcoming day. When I was checking into my flight at an airport, for example, I quickly found my confirmation number by tapping on a card on this page, and didn't need to search for my itinerary and hunt for the code on my phone. This is a more proactive assistant, instead of a passive listener that's waiting for you to tell it what to do when you trigger it. How far away from my hotel am I? You also see more suggestions from Assistant throughout Wear OS. It's not very comprehensive yet, but one place I did see this was in suggested replies to messages. When my colleague told me a picture I sent her was cute, the Assistant suggested I reply, "Aww," or send 2 heart emojis. That's better than the canned replies like yes, no, okay, or can't talk now, call you later. Over time, I could see this becoming more useful as the system starts to understand how I text. I'd also like to see more assistant suggestions throughout Wear OS, and Google promised that we'll see that in the future. It also feels like Google's finally figured out what to do with the prime real estate to the right of the watch face. In the past, that was where you'd see your apps list or other watch faces. Now, it shows your activity progress via the redesigned Google Fit, which is smart since people care most about their health, even at the most superficial level. The most effective thing that Google did with this Wear OS redesign this year was putting the new Google Fit front and center. All I have to do is swipe on over to the right to see my progress every day towards my heart points and my move minutes. This is great because not only does it motivate me to close those rings, but it also makes me want to put on the watch every day so I don't feel like I'm missing out on scoring those points. On this page, I can also scroll through to see historical data of things like my cardio performance or my resting heart rate, as well as the number of steps I've taken every day for the past week. And for when I'm feeling more energetic and want to do a proper workout, I can from here tap into the actual Google Fit app and start tracking my calories burned or my heart rate during an activity when I'm exercising or on the treadmill. It's very much like closing the circles on Apple Watches. Though Fit works on phones as well, it's simply more accurate with a pulse detecting wearable linked. Even though Google didn't say it made energy-saving tweaks to the new Wear OS, I still hoped, naively, that the update would improve battery life. So I was disappointed to find that the Q Venture HR with the new OS generally dropped to about 17% in about 24 hours, making it impossible to use without daily charging. The good news is that it recharged quickly, going up to about 80% within about 20 minutes of plugging it in. I'm hoping Google's partnership with the new Wear 3100 chip will mean dramatic battery improvements like promised, because it would really suck not to be able to wear the watch out when I've forgotten to charge it. And frankly, the fact that I'll actually miss wearing this watch is the clearest indicator to me how much more useful the new Wear OS is. On their own, the new features and tweaks don't sound like much, but all together, they add up to a noticeably more meaningful platform. I'm still waiting on new features to arrive, but even as it stands now, the updated software will actually make smartwatches better.